Hello, happy Thursday. I'm so happy to be here with you guys in another Thursday to create something new together. How's everybody doing? Hello, everybody in the chat. Hello, everybody at home. Wherever you guys are, welcome in. It's good to see y'all. Good to have you here. It's good to see you as well. Yeah, it's great to be here another Thursday to make another creation together, make something amazing, have fun creating. That is what it's all about, right? I've been thinking about this week a lot about kind of like creativity and how we do things and why we do things. And I keep going back to just being happy, right? Yeah, creating things has a direct correlation for me with being happy, with doing new things, with exploring different themes. And throughout my whole life and doing things, especially in like kind of in social media, I've been posting a lot on Instagram, and I'll switch my screen so you guys can see my Instagram in a second. But throughout time, I've had a lot of like different things that that I do on my Instagram, that I do for fun, and I really enjoy doing those things. And part of that is I try to go into my Instagram. This is funny. I try to go into my Instagram and I couldn't because I'm logged out for some reason. I logged out this week, and every time I get logged out from my Instagram, it's like impossible to get back into it. I have to do 20,000 steps to get it back into it. I'm logged into my phone, but throughout the years, I've done so many things on Instagram and on different things, and most of those things going back going back in time and thinking why I did some of those things and how I did some of those things. Most of those things were rooted on just a desire of me just to explore different things. I remember when I did this building art, and it might be a little hard for you guys to see because my screen is in the middle, but let me remove my image. So this screen series that I did, this building series that I did, it was based on just exploring different things, right? And then I did this other series with 3D, where I was just exploring a lot of different 3D images. This one is kind of blurry. You can see all of these on my Instagram, by the way. But I went through this phase where I was doing a lot of these compositions that were like 3D compositions. And I had another, like very early on, my work looked like this. I'm talking about, it's data over here, 2016, 2017. So going back into that, it's been a lot of eras of my design. This was 2017, yeah. A lot of eras of my design career where most of the time I'm exploring, I'm doing different things, I'm learning how to do things as I do them. And I feel like that's the beauty of creativity, right? And I've been thinking about how grateful I am for having the opportunity to express myself to this. And also, I was thinking, hey, maybe you guys can also, thank you guys. Maybe you guys can also kind of like lean into that a little bit more and lean into the creative exploration thing, which I know a lot of you guys do. And I'm so grateful to be able to jump on here every week and share with you guys and look at some of these things and create new ones with you guys. And specifically this week, there was about 2 years ago, I remember I went to a hotel with my wife, and we were there, and I was just like, when I'm relaxed and I'm not, I don't have anything to do work-wise, and I'm disconnected, I get a lot of ideas about how I want to create things. And this idea came to my mind of like, I just have to do basic shapes with kind of this center subject and doing a lot of colors. And I kind of started doing this kind of like designs that look like this. And I did those for a while. And that's what I want to do today. I want to get an image, and then from that image, which I already kind of have on Photoshop set up, and we'll get into it. But I want to show you guys how to create that kind of flow, how to do it, and hopefully you guys can also make your own version and share it next week on Discord. We'll put the Discord up in the chat, and you can join the Discord and go to the Discord, and hopefully next week maybe you'll have your own version of this. And it doesn't have to look anything like this. That's the beauty of it. It could look like whatever you want it to look like, but it has your own flow, right? For a while, I did this 2017 as well. I did this other versions where I was doing I still do this. That's the beauty of it. Some things you carry through time. Some other things you leave behind. And like, for example, this whole gradient thing, I kind of left this kind of thing behind. But it was, I was doing this slice thing for a while. Yeah, so it's beautiful to just be able to explore different eras, different things, And yeah, and that era, this era right here of my design, let me show you guys a few designs, because I was preparing this for a client that's potentially wanting to license some of these images. And what that means is that essentially they're buying the rights to use the image. So I was putting together this image library for them so they can potentially license some of these. And as I was putting some of these together, I'm like, dude, I haven't worked on or done anything like this in a while, like with this style. I kind of left it behind because I focused big time on like photography distortion, and I went down that rabbit hole on that, and I kind of want to lean into it a little bit more, and maybe create one with you guys today. Here's some of those older ones that I'm showing you, so you kind of see the style. And it's a the color palette is always very similar, but maybe we can walk through how I'm using some of these things, these patterns. And I'm going to use my own images that I created before as an inspiration to create a new image today, which is this one right here. So we have this image to start with, and I'm going to kind of walk you guys and show you guys how I would tackle something like this step by step, right? So hopefully you can prepare your own image, make it as well. If you're close by your computer and you want to create during this hour with me, that would be ideal. That's so much fun. And then you can share on Discord what you did, and we can all check it out and give you a thumbs up and say hi. But yeah, feel free to jump into it. Let's jump on it real quick and check out as well. If you have any questions, anything, you can drop them on the comments. Also, don't forget to like this. I always forget to bring this up, but like this video, because other people see it on the algorithm on YouTube, and they can jump on the live, or they can see it eventually at some point. So make sure you're liking this video, and obviously subscribe to the Adobe Live channel. And yeah, let's jump into it. All right. So the first thing that I normally do, there's two things about this that you have to know. First of all, let me turn on all the inspiration photos, and maybe let me make them smaller, and put them over here on the right, so we can turn them on whenever we want to, and we can look at it. I feel like that would be a good thing to do, so that we can at any given time, and we've talked about this in other shows that we've done in other episodes or other Thursdays, is that you always want to have some inspiration of what you're making, whether that is something that came from you in the past, or that you're trying to make your work look like, or maybe a reference of a drawing or a painting that you're inspired by, and you want to kind of follow that kind of vibe. It's always good to have a pool of inspiration. In this case, we have all these artworks over here, and I'm going to put them over here, and I'm actually going to combine them so they're not taking a ton of space on my hard drive as I make this. And then you guys can also see them at the same time, right? So yeah, good inspiration. Let's have it right there on this side. And as you can see, I'm using a lot of flat images here, flat vector looking images combined with photography, right? And that's the soul behind this whole style. That's the soul behind what I love to do and what I love to create, and creating those little moments, right? Like inside of this shirt, all these different things, creating the little moments like this text and all of those things, right? These more sculptural things in the back. So maybe we can do the same thing for this artwork, right? So let me turn this off, go back into our photography of our guy over here. And one thing that I like to always do first, obviously remove background, easy, just click on one button, and through the magic of Photoshop, it just removes the background, which is, it uses, for those of you guys that are wondering, when you use the selection tool over here, is using your computer to do it. When you click on remove background, is using almost a computer in the cloud that is more powerful and smarter to remove little details like around the hair and all those things. So it does a really good job at getting that. So you can see this photo is not super high quality, but it doesn't really matter because we are pretty much like breaking down this photo into different things, right? Another thing that we can do also through, the current power of AI, I can just ask, in fact, let's do it, because I feel like it would be a good move to just kind of make this image a little bit more crisp and sharp. So let's do that. I'm going to select around the head, and I'm going to say make image sharper and more defined, maybe. Let me put my photo back into the picture over here. There you go. Now you guys can see me. Sweet. So yeah, so we're making a selection and then sending this out, and it should make an image that matches that, but is sharper and more defined. There it is. Yeah, that works. Now, we've talked about this as well, but sometimes when you generate something new, it doesn't really match, so you have to kind of stretch it. Yeah, but I like that. I feel like that works for what we're doing. So I'm going to combine it with the photo below. And then what's next? Then I want to start breaking down the different areas, right? I want to remove his necklace. So I feel like it's too distracting. And if we want a necklace, I would rather make it myself. So I'm going to click on the remove tool right here on the left. And I'm just going to remove that. The remove tool looks like a little bandage with, it's this one over here. You guys are wondering. I mean, that happened so fast that it didn't even give me time to show you guys what the tool looks like. But essentially just draws or paints over the area in a way where it just everything aligns and it's perfect. One of the beautiful things about this style of work is that for a long time I obsessed over perfection, right, on my work. Like I want everything to feel perfect, to look perfect, to feel great. And all the little seams and all the little things. And I would have spent a ton of time just making this little triangle over here that you can see a little bit better. I honestly think that I mean, it's not that I don't care about that anymore. It's that I feel like the imperfections, you know, kind of like make it more awesome. Like it just makes the work a little bit more, feel more intentional. And I like that. I like that. All right, for those of you wondering, I went into the selection tool and then you can go select people and it's going to show your lovely model over here on the top. And then all you do is select him and then it's going to give you a list of things that you can select about him. In this case, I chose the upper cloth and then now it's all selected so I can copy paste that and paste it over here, which is great. And now because it's pasted there, as you can see, it's just made a copy of that is isolated. I want to do the same thing with the pants. Obviously, you can do that manually, or you can do it through this amazing tool that I'm going to be using again. So I'm going to click on the subject again, and maybe lower clothes. It's going to pick the pants. Did it do the shoes as well? It did everything down here. That's okay for now. You know what? I'll include it. I'll make sure that those are also in the selection. Because, yeah, we just want to get everything in there. Perfect. And now I'm going to copy paste that as well. Yeah, so right now we have that and that together. Yeah. And the belt and all of that, I want to get it in as well. So let's go back real quick and make sure that that selection is in. So I know this part is a little tedious, but I want to make sure that my selection is almost like prepping your Canva in a way to be able to be a little bit more creative and come up with all these different things, right? Sometimes we're going to paint over some of the items. Some of the times we're going to add a little bit of color, a little bit of things into it. And I want to make sure that all of that is working great and that I have a good handle on all of my different things, right? The next thing that we could do, I'm trying to think if I should do this part or not, is to separate his head and also those other things, which I feel like it could be really cool to accentuate some parts of his body. And so let's choose his neck area, which I know you can do around here. Yeah, this one. Let's apply that, and then I'm going to paste that as well. To be honest, I'm not sure if we'll use this part on its own. So I kind of like the proportions of the model already. I mean, we can always make his head a little bit smaller, which I feel like it could be cool and highlight a little bit more the kind of like the subject itself. It's not doing a great selection right now on the head. I'm trying to choose the head and leave the shirt the same way, kind of like that. I don't know why it's doing this square up here. All right, so I'm going to do that. And here it is. Hey, guys, what's up? All right, so I'm going to have them over here. And then, as you can see, it created this little line that we have to just erase. I'm gonna erase that. Yeah, but like hopefully you're seeing here, it doesn't have to be a perfect thing. Like in fact, you don't want it to be a perfect thing. You want this to be a little bit messy. In my opinion, you want this to be, it just feels a little bit more honest. Yeah, you see, it had a white thing behind it. I don't know why. I guess when we remove background, it didn't remove that. That's so weird. This one does too, but we don't need that one anymore, do we? No, there's these gaps over here, but I think they're cool too. So that's the thing. It's like, you know, how do you kind of measure what's cool and what's not? It's up to you and what you want to do with this artwork. Now, I always do this kind of like, I know it by heart. I'm gonna lay it down here in my background. So what I do for my background is that I typically do let me put it over here, select, sweet. So I'm gonna select this one over here. And I'm gonna do a gradient from this color to maybe, it's like more like a yellowish, something like this. Sometimes a little bit more. There you go. Something like that. I'm gonna do this color in a different layer so that I can dump it on the background. Sweet, yeah, and that should look similar to, you see, it's like pretty similar to my other colors. Because I mean, I do this color so much. I feel like it's, you know, imprinted on my brain. But yeah, but I do that color. Another color that I do a lot of, and I like to do here, maybe we'll start with doing something like that. It's like I do a red that is intense like this. And then one thing that I love doing is Control Alt on Mac, and then you drag your mouse left and right to make your brush bigger and smaller. It's a quick way to do it. And then up and down to make it softer and harsher around the edges. So I'm gonna paint a red circle over here, kind of like this. Yeah, and then I'm gonna create another one, dump it down, and I'm gonna create my blue. And that's when I say my blue, what I mean is like this shade of blue that I use all the time, right? It looks like this. I also know that blue, in fact, it's a little bit off. Let me make sure that I have it right. I mean, somewhere around there, somewhere around here. It's not like a brand color PMS type of deal. Sometimes it's whatever I want it to be, but most times it kind of feels and looks exactly the same. So I want to make another bubble-ish thing around. So we have this one, and then the third thing that I normally do on my artwork is that I have a little bit of a brighter yellow that feels a little bit more like something like that. Yeah. And again, these colors, you can save them. Like if you're using these colors all the time on your artworks and you want to save like a version of them that you kind of can like literally like click on and be like, okay, yeah, I want this exact yellow. You can do that. But you can also like learn them and use them all the time naturally, or you can change them a little bit. You don't have to use them all the time. I do feel like when I get the question of like, hey, how do you create your own style? And how do you create your own flow with your work? I feel like a lot of it is repetition, right? It's like, hey, I want to use the same little assets all the time, and I want to be using the same type of colors all the time, because I feel like that repetition really helps with. So it's repeating assets. The first thing, and the second thing is the way you do things, right? I do a lot of soft brush. I do a lot of like careless type of like movements on what I do. And then I do a lot of sharp images where like I'm using a lot of vector things that feel very sharp and very quote unquote intentional, very vectory. So I feel like that's what makes a style work, because you have these pieces that are repeating all the time, right? So in a way, yeah, I would say, yeah, if you want to create your own style, those are sort of the ingredients, right? It's like, you know, creating these kind of like assets that you use all the time that you can keep repeating. So I want to make this shirt red. And obviously if I paint it red now, it's going to blend with that red in the background. But maybe instead of making it a solid red, we want to make it something more, maybe something more like this. I like this. I feel like it fades a little bit what's going on. And then we can maybe focus more on the pants. We can focus on the belt. I feel like it would be really cool to make the belt kind of stand out. So I'm going to make the bottom part of the belt one asset. sort of like that. And I'm using the pen tool here again. You guys know how it is. Pen tool for life. We can exceed the shirt and kind of tuck that into that. And then that way, when we click on it, it's going to be behind the t-shirt over here, you see? So that works really well there. I'm going to keep it there. And then the other thing that I want to do is that I want to make this buckle. Is that what it's called? This buckle part, I want to make it a different color. So it kind of complements what's going on. And yeah, we have this whole layering thing happening. There's a mosquito. Guys, there's nothing I hate more than mosquitoes. I would stop anything I'm doing, even alive, to kill a mosquito. I'm sorry. Sounds really bad. But the mosquitoes, man, I just can't. And summer is coming. I mean, it's here, sort of. I live in Texas. It gets really warm. We've been fortunate this year. We've been blessed to have like a really nice weather, like almost all year. Like it's been great. I feel like it's been like sort of like, yeah, it's been good. It's been a good year weather-wise. We didn't have a lot of cold weather on the winter, and now the summer is here and it's getting warm pretty quickly. So, but with the warm weather comes the mosquitoes, and they're just crazy, man. How about you guys? What is it like where you guys live? Yeah, but it's great. It's been a great year. I'm not complaining, weather-wise, especially because like here in Texas, man, you can get anything. It could be any kind of like way. So the fact that it's been okay for the last few months, I feel like it's a plus for me. Okay, so I'm doing this buckle. I feel like I want to do it white because it kind of works. I want to do this little part over here. I'm going to drop it in like this. Yeah, so we're creating these little elements, right? We're creating these elements and stacking them together. And yeah, this is the beauty of what I was talking about at the beginning, right? It's whatever you want. It doesn't have to be anything in particular. You can just do whatever you want. I do want the belt to be... I want these straps to be on top of the belt, right? Like a normal belt would do. And I know informationally there's not a lot going on in the photo there, but we can do whatever we want. That's what I'm trying to say. I hope you guys are getting that point. It's like, yeah, we can do whatever, and you just click out of it, see what it looks like, see what it feels like. If it looks dumb in a way or it doesn't work, we can always then, okay, let's just then commit to doing that as a layer on top of that layer. So that way it's not like a floating thing. It's more like, yeah, it's there. It's on the picture. It is vector. We created it to fit into the area. But yeah, it is part of the artwork now. So we can make it a little bit more, yeah, maybe more like that. And then we have to draw another one on the other side just to match that. We've talked about this also on the show. It's like the things that you don't repeat in a design or an artwork sometimes can be interpreted as mistakes, because if they're very unique in the sense of like, oh, it only repeats one time on the whole artwork, then, you know, it could be interpreted as a mistake. So you definitely want to repeat things. Yeah, this is not looking bad. Maybe we'll make it the same color. Yeah, so I'm happy with that belt. I'm happy with how it's working. I like the look of it. And I like how, you know, this shirt looks like the opacity is down big time. And this one looks like it's good, right? So I kind of like that standing there. Man, in some way, I feel like this image needs, I mean, obviously we're barely getting started with positioning the things and deciding what we want. I'm liking these 3 circles back here. I feel like they could be a little motif for our image. And like, you know, like every episode, we are thinking as we are creating, right? So that's what we want to do. We want to create and think at the same time. Yeah, so I want to do that motif for the image to where maybe these 3 circles in the back, you see them blue, yellow, and red also are a motif for how I design the image, right? And then we're going to go right now into the assets. We have about 30 minutes or so left. So we got plenty of time, which is great. But I want to go into the assets and how I manage some of the assets. Here in the metal, because we have the yellow on the thing, we don't have to make it the other yellow. But yeah, if you are wanting to start building your own library of assets, I think like the Adobe libraries is a great place to start. You can dump in your colors. For example, I have the colors here just in case I forget what my colors are. So you can dump your colors in there and have them ready to go. Or you can, you can memorize them as well, or both, right? It's gonna kind of happen with time, where you could be using the same colors, and it's going to end up happening. But another thing that you can do, I made this mistake where there's a line there. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I'll fix it in a second here. Yeah, but the other thing that you can do is you can start saving some of these things, right? For example, this is an asset that I use all the time. So I want to be able to just throw it into my, I don't know why it's not working. It's probably going to open Illustrator. Because I made all of these assets inside of Illustrator, and then I use them in Illustrator and Photoshop. So most of the time when I work, I will come to Illustrator, and I will open my library here. And I have a ton of libraries. I don't know which one is going to open. Okay, here it is. Perfect. So I'll show you guys what it looks like. So I will open my ML library, and I will have a bunch of assets here. And most of the time, these assets were made here in Illustrator, so I can just come in and copy one or copy many of them. For example, this is one that I really enjoy using, and I put it on top of the cloth normally as a clothing pattern. So I'm going to bring it into this, and I'm going to drop it over here. So I'm going to say yes, and I'm just going to drop it inside of the pants, clip it to the pants, and I'm also going to color overlay it. Yeah, I'm thinking about color overlaying them on blue, but instead of doing that, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to be like creating a few of them first. Let me do 3 of them, kind of like this. I'll rotate them a little bit so it kind of fit on this this area of the pants. So as you can see, like sometimes finding little accidents on the work that will be an accident normally, but then becomes an opportunity to just make it exciting, right? So in this case, I found this kind of like line on the pants, and I want to put the assets on the left side of that line, and then I'm masking now inside of that, and then I want to draw on top of that. So the reason why I'm drawing on top of it instead of making just a solid thing is because I want to be able to come in with the darker blue and kind of paint over it a little bit, kind of like this, so that I can highlight areas where it needs to feel like it's really there. I'm either doing that, or I can just make it also dramatically feel like a fake element on top of the photo, which I also enjoy doing. Okay, the other thing that I do use a lot on my work besides these assets over here, let me see what other asset we have saved over here, which you have a few of them. I mean, we have these white ones that is hard to see. Check out this cool artwork, guys. I don't know why I have this here, but I made this artwork a while ago for a Adobe presentation I had, and it just took me so long to make those flowers. And I did it, all the same way that we do everything on here. It's like vector type of, pen tool, and then drawing on top of it and drawing all the little things. It was just a lot of fun. Anyways, I don't know why I have those on my assets, but yeah, I have a few things that I normally use. I have my name. I have this other asset that I really enjoy using all the time. It's a little bit more of a broken type of looking asset. So it kind of has more like a raw kind of look to it that I like. And look, even there where it just landed there, I feel like that's a great location for it, because it kind of goes into the pants, but then goes out of the pants a little bit. So I kind of like the nature of it going out a little bit like that. So maybe I'll leave it there, and instead of like making it a solid color, again, we have full control if we draw over it. That's what I love. Like when drawing over something, I love that, because I can just go in and do a little bit of that. And then this gave me another idea now to like maybe flip this and just make him look like it's coming out of his belt or his hip, where you have this kind of thing that feels, I don't know, like something that's part of his outfit versus a random element that's on top. Yeah, and I love dreaming and imagining some of those things. Yeah, I'm drawing them and painting them. Over here, probably I'm gonna do the color of the pants so I can hide that side a little bit more. And because this has a lot of lines, I don't want them to overlap too much. Yeah, maybe something like that. Something like that looks cool. I feel like I like that. Yeah, maybe this one goes in a little bit more. Yeah, another asset that I use a lot is my birds. I have these birds that I use a ton. Let me go ahead and open one of them. I can't remember exactly what number it was. I'm just gonna risk it and open. I mean, there's really no risk, but I'm gonna open this one. When I say risk it, I mean like I don't know which one's gonna open. Yeah, this one open without the birds. So let's open a different one. Those are all the ones that I talked about, like I was working on. But maybe we can open one with the birds now, and nope, another one without birds. Great. I just don't want to go to the folder and let's start looking through my folder, because that might be a little bit more messy. But yeah, you can see that I'm doing in a lot of these. I'm doing the same thing, right? I'm doing the same repetition. These are the birds that I'm talking about. So they're like these vintage looking birds that I have from. They're from an old library that I've shared with you guys. These libraries of Public Works. I think I have a pin over here. Public Works has a lot of different assets like this. So I grab this from these assets and I use them all the time. Back when I started using this, we didn't have AI or anything like that. So it was really hard to get a good quality asset. And you couldn't even like make them bigger. So I made this kind of painting effect on top of them, which you do here with like paint effect inside of Photoshop. And then now I have this asset that I use all the time, and it has this kind of look, and I really enjoy using it. So yeah, we'll use it for this image. I don't know exactly how right now. And then I have this other one that is same story. It's just kind of the same thing. Another asset that I use all the time. And you can see like with not a ton of effort, things start lining up pretty well, because these are things that I use all the time, right? So I know how to use them. I definitely do have a style. At the same time, there's not a lot of like interesting stuff happening on this artwork yet, and we have to work for that. I feel like we could do something really cool with the birds, maybe making them accentuating some of the things a little bit more. Yeah, we'll get there. I'm trying to think of an idea as I move this stuff around of what we could do. Well, we can add more birds, like different ones, and create something new. I've never tried, I've never tried doing, now that AI is around, I've never tried to recreate these assets or like make some more out of them. Or honestly, like, oh yeah, we can do this. We can do the rotate tool and then get a few other views of this bird and just throw it in a different area. So let's try to do that right now, and then we'll create something interesting with this. What could be? I'm trying to think of what could be pretty cool and interesting thing to do with this artwork. I feel like if we somehow could, what happened? Oh shoot! Like it made him standing up like that. I guess that's the bottom view of it. Yeah, I'm more interested in a view like this, maybe. That feels like a top angle view. Yep. Maybe something like that. Yeah, I'm gonna send that one. I feel like that's good, because what we could do is that we could maybe layer some of these birds like around here. I'm either thinking like we make a circular motion, or we do something else. Yeah, we'll get to it. We'll get to the idea. It's part of what we're doing right now, right? It's like coming up with the idea slowly and moving some stuff around. I like this. Yeah. I feel like this could work. Like if we make this Yeah, I just enjoy like also like layering things in a way that it just feels like this angle over here on the hand feels very sharp. In a way I feel like this could work really well. So I deleted that other layer that we had on top of there because I like this angle. And then now let's just do a shadow over here real quick so we can separate the subject with the bird on the back a little bit more. And then let's do some blue over here so it looks like there's a light behind them. Perfect. Something like that could work. You can see you're creating some separation between your designs. It just makes so much like it just makes it so much better, like without doing much. You just create some separation on the design, and I love doing that with black. So soft brush black, let's do it here on the hair. Soft brush black, and then you can pick any other color and do it on top of the black really slowly around the edges. I like that. And then you're creating some edge. By the way, there's better and more professional ways to do this. You can Google them. Like, movie poster lighting, edge, things like that. Like I said, I have a certain way that I always do my work. And I feel like, that's what style is, right? It's like it's finding the way to do what you do on the way that you want to do it. And finding your own assets and doing your own things, and and creating your own little story around that. So yeah, that's something that I also do with these artworks a lot. Is that I do normally I accentuate the eyes or what the eyes should be. I don't know if it'll work for this image. We'll leave it there for now. We'll see what we feel like in a few minutes about it. Maybe a little bit more yellow. Sometimes it also helps to do it, to do a double one. Make it bigger, then cut it out. So I'm essentially making at this point like a little eye shape, like that. And then I can go in this eye shape, and I can delete the top part because obviously the eye would look like something like that. Yeah, you see that this is already looking a lot better because it almost looked like it highlights the eye in a way better way than before. And then we're just gonna duplicate it, put it over here, and we can make it. It's a little bit off center, especially I notice it on the right eye more. So I'm going to delete it a little bit from the center. Wait, what? Oh, there it is. Okay, so I'm going to delete it from the center a little bit more. Perfect. Yeah. And the cool thing about this is fully vector. We can go, okay, I want this to be yellow, or I want this to be green, or I want this to be blue, or I want it to be both. I don't know. I'll leave it like that for now. I feel like it's a cool little accent. And the fact that it doesn't really line up really well. I mean, it lines up with the eye, but it doesn't look like it's the whole eye. It's kind of inside the eye. So it kind of has like a creepy vibe to it that I kind of like. Sweet. Okay, another thing that I enjoy doing with this kind of asset that I create, I'm going to do the separation on the bird on the bottom as well. Maybe on that one we do black. And so a little bit of black accent there. A tiny bit of red. Maybe a tiny bit of blue. We'll see. Yeah, I like the blue and black, man. Oh, so good. So good. So darker black, obviously. And then some blue, it just shines. Comes through. Looks dope, doesn't it? Yeah. It just looks great. I think it's such a cool combination, that darker, the more pure black and the brighter blue. I'm gonna repeat it up here a little bit more. Yeah, there you go. Okay. All right. So, I mean, I love how this bird is kind of touching his shirt in a way. So let's go ahead and copy that bird, put it on top of the shirt, And then we're going to be, in essence, making a shadow of that bird. So what I'm doing is that I copy that, put it on top of the shirt, and then I'm kind of aligning it to where it looks like the shadow is hitting that side. And it might not make a lot of sense right now, but when we painted it, when we paint it black right now, hue saturation, we're gonna do black the whole way. Sweet. And then we're gonna create a mask on top of that, and then we're gonna delete it a little bit. So it's going to, be a little bit softer. So we'll do something like that. And then obviously also the bird, like the edges are not perfect. It has this kind of like I said, these assets are a little older. So I didn't have a way before to refine them. So I made this kind of like painterly effect on them that I really like. But at the same time, it's just not ideal. So one thing that I want to do around these days is to remake these assets a little bit better, especially with like using AI and trying to refine them a little bit more, doing something cool with them. Yeah, so we'll do something like that. I feel like that works. We can also shift that shape a little bit more. Something that I'm not liking is that when you have little things like this, it's confusing from afar. It's just better to just commit and do something like that, or to stretch it. There you go. That's just so much better. It's more dramatic. It just makes it, it's a little bit more intentional. And the cool thing that we could do now, what I feel like could be a really cool artwork, maybe we don't focus on the whole artwork, right? Because the way that we've been developing this, like in the last few minutes, is that we've been focusing a lot on this top area. So maybe the crop for the artwork needs to change from what it used to be. It needs to change from what it used to be to maybe like something like this. Maybe his eyes over here, lower third type of vibe. Not lower third. What am I saying? Root of thirds. It's keeping the center of focus on there. Maybe even more cropped. Oops, I went back too much. Maybe a little bit more cropped will be better. Let's try that. Yeah, that's looking even better. Yeah, it's just looking so much more dramatic because what you do is that you make him the center of attention. Let's see when we crop it. Maybe I'm getting overly excited. I just realized this is so small for you guys. All right. Yeah. So I like that better because it almost tells you that the focus of attention of this whole thing, it's not the birds, it's not anything else. It's the guy, right? So the other guys, the other things are in the artwork to support him, or like his eyes or whatever is happening, and then everything else becomes like some noise, right? I don't think I'm ready for the commitment to this crop that I made. I feel like it is a better crop than having the whole image. And then my next thing here would be to focus on the shirt a little bit. One thing that we could do with the shirt, I'm trying to decide if I like this here or not right now because of how we have it cropped. Maybe we can do some of these patterns on the birds. Is that something else about creating images like this is that you want to set like a storytelling aspect to it, even if you don't tell anybody. It's good for you to be able to justify what you're doing and how you're doing it. And I feel like these birds could be almost like an agent of chaos in a way. Like they're like a little chaotic. They're a little bit all over the guy. They're coming into the scene and making a mess. And on the other hand, you have the guy who seems really peaceful. His eyes are staring at the camera. So you kind of have to think about it that way too. It's like maybe some of these more like patterns that feel a little bit more crazy can belong to the birds. And yeah, we can utilize some of those for kind of telling the story in that way. There's a hole here that I really don't like on this bird. Yeah, there's little details that come up. But yeah, maybe we can use these patterns as a way to kind of describe the story of this chaos for these birds. and then we use the the guy itself with a little bit more of like a nicer kind of character, or like more peaceful thing going on. And yeah, that's what I'm referring to when I'm talking about storytelling on the artwork. It's like you don't have to tell anybody that. But now, from now on, everything that I do on this artwork, I know these birds are like, you know, I want to say evil, but at the same time, they're like bringing chaos to the image, while this guy is bringing peace, right? So it's almost like, how do we elaborate on that idea? How do we make that idea a little bit more like the center of the story, right? Maybe make this guy a little bit bigger. I feel like a good thing about this could be, I love how this kind of like landing within this arc, and it just feels more like it's there. One thing that I want to do with this is also add a little glow to them. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I added the blue glow on this side and the yellow and a little bit of red on this side, but maybe we can make it even more by just going here, outer glow, make it super small. The size is going to be small, and then we're going to do normal. And then what you do is you pick the same color, and then you make it even softer. So the opacity is going to be down, and the size is going to be down. Something like that. It just needs to be, we're going to copy layer style. We have about 10 minutes, so I want to hurry up and do something else that I want to do here. But paste layer style, we're just going to switch this one instead of that to that like lighter blue. Yeah, maybe something like that. Who knows? We'll see. And then this one, paste layer style, and then I'm going to do the same color as that, and I'm going to click OK. Sweet. Okay, so we have this whole thing going on here in the head, this triangle thing. We have the same thing happen with the colors in the back, which, by the way, we could make a little bit smaller now since our canvas is smaller. Sweet. We have this chaos. You see how, like, oh man, this part over here on the left, this is so beautiful. Like, it's like red and blue and dark colors going on. And then over here, you have a more peaceful thing going on. So I like that balance a lot. And I'm trying to see how I can make it more of a big deal, that there's a different side to this story on this side. And I'm finding those opportunities, right? Maybe white over here, white over, so it's like a light side and like a darker side over here. These circles, although I like them, I feel like they need to be accentuated to make it a bigger part of the story, maybe. And the other thing that I want to do is that I want to do something inside of his shirt. So let's go back into the public domain website. And then what I'll do is that I'll repeat. We have two options here. I wanted to really do something that you can see that's coming out of the bird touching his chest. At the same time, I don't know how. I don't know if we're going to be able to do that with the time that we have. But essentially what I was thinking about is like, hey, like if we have this bird touching his shirt, maybe what we could do is that we could do, sort of something like this. That just feels like it's a little bit part of what's happening. And then copy it again and just do select it. Sweet. I just want to move it up to where we have 4 of them from the same point. Something like that was my idea, but maybe with a different asset. In a way, yeah, that was my idea when I put that there. I was like, I put it there, and I was like, it would be cool. It would be in my brain. I was like, it would be cool to be able to mash it with something that has an impact on his shirt. Like it looks like it's glowing, or it looks like it's kind of pulsating from the touch. I feel like something like this could work. I'm trying to see how to make it work. Okay, I know something that could also help the whole canvas. So I'm switching back from these to something else. But okay, let me see if I jump this down. It's more dramatic. It's not what I want. So take a look at some of these that I've done kind of similar things to, like this one. I have this whole Japanese thing, artwork inside of it. The way that I'm using this, I'm gonna bring it to this canvas so you guys can see it. The way that I'm using this is that I am literally copying an artwork, and I'm cutting out the things that I want to highlight, and I'm putting them on the edges, which is something that I really like doing. Like that's what I was doing here. I'm gonna push it up, remove background, and it should just give me the, well, it didn't give me just the flowers. I'm gonna push it all the way up. Try it again. I'm gonna try to do a selection like this. Sometimes the remove background sometimes doesn't work with, this is probably a mistake. But sometimes it doesn't work when you have a ton of layers, and then you have a layer somewhere in between. Maybe it's inside of a folder, but that's why I moved it up and it still didn't work. But yeah, let's do it this way real quick so I can show you guys. Yeah, it's still not working. Okay, I'm gonna copy paste this. Doesn't matter. And then I'm gonna put it inside of the shirt. Yeah, so I normally would do something like that, and then do opacity, and then start laying it out. And that's sort of what is happening on this other artwork, where I have this kind of like Japanese kind of paintings, but then also on this one I'm using this clothing thing, and I am doing a gradient map on top of it. I do like this. I do like this this background thing a lot as well. I use it in a lot of my work. But yeah, maybe the birds. I don't know. How do you guys feel about the birds? I feel like I like the 4 birds coming from the one place. I like it. There's something about it that maybe it's just the edge. Let's try to delete the edge a little bit. We have 5 minutes and 21 seconds or so. So I'll make sure that I keep this bit a little faster. Maybe what we do is that we'll delete it when it touches the arm. That way it'll probably feel natural. It'll feel a little bit more natural to do. There you go, something like that. Something like this. Okay. I mean, I'm not mad at that. It's not perfect by any means, but I feel like it's reinforcing the theme of what we're looking at. And we can also, let's create another separation here on the neck area and go with black and just darken that a little bit. Just want to flatten that a little bit more. Okay, sweet. Yeah, so we're creating some separation. I like the evil birds over here. I like this bird that seems to be like a nicer bird, like a positive one. Let's do something on this nicer bird. Let's do a little glow over here when he hits. Oof, I painted on top of it. Right, new layer, and then I'm gonna paint it on top of it. Sweet, send it up so we all can see it. Check it out. So we're gonna do this glow. Like it's touching there. Boom. Something's happening. But this glow, what I was thinking was that we'll stretch it So we warp it, stretch it, grab it on the edge, stretch it like this. So it kind of truly looks like it's coming from the metal. Kind of like that. Trying to see if I like this decision or not, but it'll have to be obviously. Yeah, that's not gonna work. He worked in my brain. Dissolve maybe. We'll try dissolve. We're about 2 minutes away, so I have to start wrapping this up. But I mean, you guys get what we're trying to do, and kind of like I want to show you guys a little bit of what it feels like to create something like this and what it looks like to do so. So, yeah, I want to try with the dissolve because I feel like we maybe could do it because it has all these little dots happening. Something like this, maybe something like that, maybe. All right, I'm not gonna try to keep fixing that little thing, or otherwise we're gonna stay here forever. I'm gonna drop a little bit of color on top of the good bird over here. Maybe a little bit of let's try the red on the edge over here. On the edge, like I said before, I like doing the black first, and then doing on top the color because it just makes it so much better. So something like that could be cool. And then yeah, I have so many other little assets that I normally do. I normally do these lines on the eyes of the birds. This one moved, but it's supposed to be there. Yeah, and all these different things. So I feel like from there, what I'm missing is to maybe do a little bit more of that, a little bit more of the of this kind of world building. Maybe a tiny bit of the reading, the words, adding a little bit more magic to it, a little more layers like these letters that I do a lot of. I feel like it's missing a tiny bit of that, but at the same time, I'm really happy with the concept. I feel like the concept is really strong, and yeah, it could be awesome to just keep working on. So I'll keep working on it. You'll probably see this posted on my Instagram, so make sure you're following my Instagram. For sure, just to keeping track of what we're doing. Check out the Adobe Live in Discord and the Instagram and all of those things, so that you stay in touch with everything that Adobe is doing, and obviously here on YouTube on the Adobe Live. I hope you guys like this episode, and I hope you like this, and I'll see you on Discord with your creations. Please make sure that you do post them there. I want to see them. I want to see what you guys are creating. I want to see what you guys are doing. Don't forget to create. Don't forget to be who you are, and to bring something unique to this world. We need that so much. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys next week.